The international break is starting to really drag on, so whilst we wait for the final 8 games of the season, we're going to have a look into the relegation picture in the Championship, and alongside me to do that, I've got the Lutonian journalist James Cunliffe. Jimbo, big 6 weeks to finish the season. Let's get stuck into it.
Yep, let's crunch some numbers so you don't have to.
We'll do that right after this intro.
I believe our supporters are the best supporters in the country.
I love this town. I love this town. I love this town. You know what I love about this town is actually you. Everyone in it has got these massive souls.
We're Luton people, and that's what we care about.
Hello everyone, welcome along to another episode of the Luton Town Supporters Trust podcast, the award-winning, longest-running Luton Town podcast, having scooped bronze in the Best Football League podcast category in the Football Content Awards. This season, the show is in association with Solid, providing opportunities, provisions and assistance so our academy can fulfil their potential. As I mentioned prior to the intro, we're all a bit bored of this international break, aren't we? So we thought we'd bring you some mid-international break content. I've got Jimbo alongside myself, and we're going to have a look at the relegation picture. With what we're going to do, we've kind of laid out the bottom 8 teams in the table. We don't think anyone apart from that is certainly in range for us. They might be in range for other teams, but we don't think Swansea are catchable for us. So everyone below Swansea, we're going to have a look at their fixtures, going to have a look at their points totals, maybe predict how many we think that they can get, and see if we can come up to a number that Luton Town need over the last 8 games that will keep us in the Championship. We're not going to look at Luton's fixtures here. We'll do that individually with each preview podcast, but it might just give us a sort of base figure that Jimbo and I can focus on when it comes to doing those previews.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're with me because you're the stats man, the betting man, and I think that there might be a bit surprising, these numbers.
Yeah, I do too. So let's start then. Well, let's start at the bottom and work our way up, shall we? Plymouth Argyle, currently on 33 points, 2 points behind Luton. Last 8 games, their form has been 2 wins, 2 draws, 4 defeats. So if they match that over their next 8 games, they're going to finish on 41 points for the season. But they've got 8 games left, as I said. So they begin straight after the international break with Watford away. Come on, do us a favour for once in your lives, you lot. Then they have Norwich at home, Swansea away, Sheffield United, who are big players in this relegation picture. Sheffield United at home, Middlesbrough away. Don't be as bad as you were prior to the international break, Middlesbrough. Coventry at home, Preston away. And if they need something on the last day of the season, well, I wish you well, Plymouth, because you're at home to Leeds. Mm-hmm. And you're probably not getting anything. Jimbo, we've seen Plymouth. If they're not the worst team that we've seen this season, they're certainly comfortably in the bottom 3. You'd probably, at Kenilworth Road at least, you'd probably put Portsmouth and Middlesbrough, funnily enough, alongside that. But Cardiff are certainly no better. Do we need to worry about Plymouth, or do you think they're gone anyway? Before we even look at their fixtures, I mean, they have still got to play the top 2. But Luton can't stay up if Plymouth do. That would be the situation that I'm looking at.
Yeah, it would seem that way. I mean, they did go and beat Portsmouth and got their first away win of the season, which may give them some positivity, but you would have thought that they might have got that as well from stealing a point at Kenilworth Road and didn't quite bounce on the games after that. I was looking at social media and some of the Plymouth Argyle fans, and largely I think they're resigned to their fate. So there's an element of that. They do still have quite a comparatively down the bottom of a favourable home record, so maybe they're holding on to that, but they've been down there for that long. I would expect that they're going down. I mean, they were comfortably terrible when they came down to Kenilworth Road. Unfortunately, they give us a whooping up there, so there's that to contend with. Feels like a bloody distant memory, though, that one. So I think that Plymouth are nailed on to be going down. I think, judging by that performance at Kenilworth Road, certainly. There's always going to be a surprise, isn't there? Usually. I'm not sure that they're going to be one of them.
No, bookmakers have them racing certainties to be relegated. Some have stopped even offering odds on that happening, such as the certainty that they think they're with. Obviously, 6 points adrift of Cardiff, 7 points adrift. They've got the worst goal difference in the league, minus 37, which over 38 games takes them doing. You mentioned Plymouth's home record, which is good, to be fair to them. Their 4 home games remain in Norwich. Okay, maybe they can get something from that. Sheffield United, Coventry and Leeds. So 3 of the top 6 at home.
I mean, those names suggest nothing. You're not getting anything because they will all have something to play for. Coventry, obviously going for the playoffs. Leeds of having a wobble at the moment, and long may that continue. Well, at least a week played.
For another 2 weeks, please.
I mean, wobble is a relative term, isn't it? I'd like to be wobbling like they are, to be sure. But and what was the other team you said?
Sheffield United. So they're obviously in the title mix themselves.
They're sniffing silverware there as well as promotion, aren't they? There's a real chance that can happen. And it seems like Leeds fans are far more confident about winning it, and Sheffield United think that they can pip them, and it's looking like that's a possibility. And I'm hoping we can help that along somewhat. But that's a tough fixture schedule against teams that really want to achieve something there. And I think that doesn't bring you. If they get anything out of those fixtures, then you have to hold your hands up to them. But I can't see it looking this far ahead.
Which brings you on to their away games, as their away form's terrible, as Jimbo alluded to. Their win at Portsmouth recently was their only away win of the season. So their away games, Watford, Swansea, Middlesbrough and Preston. Preston are big runners in this thing. They play 5 of the bottom 7, or the 7 around us rather, between now and the end of the season. Don't go on the beach, Preston. Get yourself to that FA Cup semi-final so that you've got something to play for, and we're all good. It's hard to predict what Plymouth are going to do away from home. I mean, they basically have to travel to a new country just to get to their nearest game, don't they, in this division, let alone Middlesbrough away and the likes of that. I mean, if you were going to put a points total in amongst all of this lot, how many would you give them?
Let's go for them again.
So Watford away first up.
Yeah, nothing.
Norwich at home.
Nothing.
Swansea away.
Potentially. I'll give them a point.
Sheffield United at home.
Nothing.
Middlesbrough away.
That's the tricky one, because like you say, they came down to our place with no centre halves and were shocking and should have got an absolute shellacking. The fact that we can't score didn't help there. So I'll give them a point there.
Hell of a long journey that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Coventry at home.
Nope, nothing.
Preston away.
Yeah, there is the possibility of feet up there. I'll be generous to them. They could win that one.
And Leeds at home.
Nothing.
So 5 points, 5 points for Plymouth gets them to 38 points this season. I can tell you for now, 38 ain't going to keep you up because Cardiff are already on 39. So we've got Plymouth making their way back down to League One. Sorry, Plymouth fans. That's just the way it is, I'm afraid. We'll skip Luton, as I said. We all know everything about our fixtures and everything else. And we'll go to the team immediately above us, Derby County. Obviously won the last 3 in absolutely wretched form prior to that. Blackburn have kickstarted a few seasons around us, and Derby's was one of them. So their last 8 games, 3 wins, 2 draws, 3 defeats. So if they replicate that over their last 8 games, they're going to finish with 49 points. Just kind of getting into the benchmark of the areas where you think we're going to need to be in order to stay up. They're on 38 points, 3 points ahead of Luton, of course. There's a huge game on Good Friday, which, the importance of it's just been increased by TV coverage and everything else. Derby's remaining fixtures, Preston at home, first up after the international break. That's a bad one for Luton fans. Swansea away, Burnley at home, Portsmouth away. There's a lot of teams in and around us that this lot play. Us at home, West Brom away, Hull away, and then there's a humdinger of a game on the last day of the season, which is Derby versus Stoke. The 2 teams that are deep in the mire at the moment. Let's focus on Derby's recent resurgence. I think most people expected this to happen when John Eustace went in, because he did it with Blackburn last season, ironically. But it didn't happen immediately. I've only seen Derby once or twice because their games keep clashing with the Luton, so I only see them when they're on television. They were on television against QPR. I can't remember if it was his first game or if he was there ready to take over in the next game. But they lost 4-0 and they were absolutely dreadful. I mean, they did well to get nil that night. Obviously, they've improved since then. As I said, that Blackburn win was, a large part of that. So maybe they're the form team in amongst all of this lot. And when you look at the fixtures, they're kind of favourable to them. They only play one team in that promotion race. That's Burnley at home. So the other 7, they'll be looking at that they can get things from. Okay, West Brom away would be a difficult one. But the rest of them, Preston, got an eye on the FA Cup. Swansea, probably in no man's land. Portsmouth may well be in no man's land themselves. But then it's 3 of the last 4. Us at Pride Park, Hull away, Stoke at home. They're the games that's going to dictate where Derby are.
I think they probably are looking like the form team at the moment, the way they're playing. I kind of discount the Blackburn one. I think they're just handing out points like candy, really, aren't they? They are dropping like a stone from the position where they were, looking like they thought a playoff place might be an option, and now not. As long as they can maintain that form, Blackburn Rovers, as an aside, till we have to play them.
If Leeds are maintaining their wobble for 2 weeks, you maintain yours for 3 weeks, Blackburn, and we're good.
If they could do that, that would be absolutely lovely. But when you look at the points that they've got in the last 8 and maybe try and extrapolate it over the fixtures they've got left, and you say, 49 points, I think it's going to be a low figure this year, low number that means survival. I'm thinking somewhere around the high 40s, and 49 would fit that bill. So on that basis, I think that Derby probably have enough to get out.
Well, let's see if they get to 49 then. Preston at home, how many are you giving them in that?
3.
Swansea away?
1.
Burnley at home?
Nothing.
Portsmouth away?
That's a tough one. That is a tough one.
Very, very strong home record, Portsmouth, one of the best in the league.
Yeah. I'll go for a point there.
Luton at home?
None.
West Brom away?
West Brom, they're pretty much there or thereabouts for it, aren't they?
No, they're like best of the rest in the terms of the playoffs at the minute.
Yeah, nothing there then.
Hull away?
Nothing, because of Hull being at home, but that will be a really tricky game.
Stoke at home last day of the season?
Yeah, that's the one where you just don't know, do you? Because that late Millwall penalty against Stoke has really clipped their wings a bit and dragged them back in, and they're not scoring a lot. Their keeper kept them in that game as well. He's a phenomenal keeper by the looks of it for shot stopping. So, but they're not scoring a lot. So, and Derby have started to find the net. So I have to go for Derby on that one, I think.
So you've 8 points for Derby, so that will get them up to 46, if Jimbo's right. So Luton would need 11 points over our last 8 games to catch them, most likely 12, because we're probably not going to bridge a 15-goal difference.
Well, I thought it'd be higher than that, to be honest. So maybe there'll be a surprise in there somewhere along. Maybe it's the Portsmouth one, wasn't it? I gave them just a point on that one.
Yep.
But I was sticking with it. But
that's fine. There'll be many who don't give them a point in that Portsmouth game. Obviously, the big one in that fixture list we hope that you've got right is Good Friday, where they don't get anything against us. Let's move on to Cardiff. Comfortably the worst team I've seen this season in that game just prior to the international break. I mean, we mentioned it when we did the review of that game. Absolutely horrendous. But then, they went up and they got the lottery of the Blackburn at the right time. Right just before the international break. So Cardiff currently 39 points, minus 20. That's 6 goals better than our goal difference, 4 points ahead of us. Their last 8 games, 2 wins, 2 draws, and 4 defeats. So if they replicate that form, they're going to finish on 47 points, which, as we've just seen, will be one more than what we think Derby will get. But do we get them? Do we see them getting there? Let's go through it. Sheffield Wednesday at home is their first fixture after the international break. Sheffield Wednesday are key to all of this. They play 5 of the bottom 7, along with Preston. Swansea and Sheffield United are going to be other ones. They play 4. Our friends down the road and Leeds play 3 of these 7 teams that we're coming up against. So they're the 6 teams that we really need to finish the season strongly to help us out. So Sheffield Wednesday at home, QPR away, Preston away, Stoke at home, Sheffield United away, Oxford at home. That third last week of the season, there's some juicy fixtures, let me tell you. I think that's actually Easter Monday, that one. West Brom at home, Norwich away is their last game of the season, Cardiff. We know from when we went down there that their home form is patchy at best. That crowd was on their back very, very quickly. It didn't take a lot to turn them. Aaron Ramsey's now been ruled out for the remainder of the season. Things are starting to go wrong at the wrong time for Cardiff. Their manager was very damning of their situation after we beat them. Forget the nonsense that you come out with of us robbing them. He was really scathing about how bad they were that night.
Yeah, but then they went and won, didn't they, the next game? Which
yeah,
is
like you say, though, against Blackburn, do we read too much into that Blackburn form? I mean, Blackburn, what is going on? Crikey. Corley, come on, man. You're meant to be helping us out here. Do you know what I mean? Let's go through these fixtures individually then. Cardiff, Sheffield Wednesday at home. Sheffield Wednesday might have lost their chance of the playoffs after losing the derby just prior to the international break, but won't have given up just yet.
No, I don't think so. And, well, we need them to be having something to challenge for. They've got the amount of fixtures they've got against the rivals of ours. So, fingers crossed that they can. Come on, Barry Bannon, pull that team together and get them out there. What home and away is that?
That's in Cardiff, yeah.
Point.
QPR away.
Nothing.
Just held Leeds, haven't they?
Yeah.
QPR.
No, nothing.
Preston away.
It's a tricky one. Nothing.
Stoke at home. What a huge game that is.
Oh, well, maybe the best result there is a point each.
It very much is the best. Sheffield United away on Good Friday.
0.
Oxford at home on Easter Monday.
That's another tricky one, isn't it? Because, well, we haven't got to Oxford yet, but I think that they potentially could be in a bit of trouble. They've just ended a 5 or 6 game winners run, haven't they? Let's hope it's a blip.
Well, it was only against Watford.
Let's give them a point each.
West Brom at home.
Nothing.
And final game of the season, Norwich away. That's a trip for a 12:30 kickoff, isn't it?
I think Norwich will win that, to be honest.
So Cardiff going without a win for the rest of the season, just 3 points, which will get them to 42 in Jimbo's eyes. That would be nice.
That'd be very nice.
Be very confident that we can catch them if they only get to 42. Stoke. We're getting to 3 teams now that are absolutely crucial in this survival battle. So Stoke, 39 points, 4 points ahead of Luton. Their goal difference minus 14, 12 better than Luton. Their recent form, last 8 games, and the reason why we're using the last 8 games for recent form is because obviously there's 8 games left. 2 wins, 1 draw, 5 defeats. So 7 points from that. That would get them to 46 points if they replicate that over their last 8 games. However, I'm sure Stoke fans don't need me to tell them. The fixture list is not particularly kind to them, it has to be said. QPR at home after the international break. Preston away. Us at home on that Tuesday night. Cardiff away so that's a big week for Stoke. Sheffield Wednesday at home. And then their last 3 games, Leeds away, Sheffield United at home, Derby away. Absolutely massive end to the season. You just mentioned Stoke aren't scoring goals. They've got the best goalkeeper in the league, bar none, in terms of save percentage and goals prevented and everything else like that. You mentioned him saving them against Millwall. We had the Blackburn game on in the background whilst we were recording a podcast, and every time we looked up, he was saving something then as well. And that's against a ordinary-looking Blackburn side right now. If anything happens to him, you've got to seriously worry about Stoke, but you've got to worry about them anyway, Jimbo. They're not, like you said, they're not going anywhere. They're not scoring. Mark Robbins was meant to be the messiah. He was meant to get them up the other end of the league. Hasn't really happened, and they've been teetering for a while, haven't they? And much like they did in the Premier League, eventually they realised that you can teeter no more. And this could be the season that they fall by the wayside, because those last 3 or 4 games, they need to do their point scoring very, very early after the international break. Otherwise, they really, really, really going to be looking over their shoulders.
Yeah, I just think that virtually last kick of the game penalty that Millwall got.
And it wasn't a penalty, was it?
No. But, I mean, he was getting wrestled all over the game. Was it Coburn?
Yeah.
I think,
and then threw himself down
That one wasn't. He robbed it, but maybe he should have got one somewhere else. But it was a silly foul to make. He did have his arms around him, so you can see why it's given. It's one of those debatable ones. Doesn't matter. I was sat in the Luton press room before the game, and everyone was watching that. Cheers all round when that penalty went in, which says it all, really. Everybody's sort of trying to focus on the Luton game. Teams had just come out. We're watching that with one eye sort of thing, but everybody was really focused on that one, thinking, please, just get something. And it happened. And that, I think, when you look at moments in seasons, that could be one that really takes the sting out of them, takes the air, so the wind out of them, and leaves them in some bother, because, like you say, those fixtures don't look good for them, you struggle to see where they're going to create that many chances. The game they won before that was a 1-0, and like you say, the keeper kept them in it. So that is my hope of that one, and I think that they could be caught now. They looked like they seemed like they were going to get pull away, didn't they? And then if they'd have won that, Millwall game, then maybe that's the springboard. But rug pull.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously Millwall would have been up for that. Alex Neil, former Stoke manager, would have made sure that he got his team up for that. But ultimately, that's a Millwall side that are going nowhere this season. They're definitely not. There's two teams in this league that really are going nowhere right now. Millwall and QPR. The rest of them are either playing for something as we speak right now. Preston's might only be the FA Cup, but hey, still something that they're playing for. So let's go through their fixtures then, Jimbo. Unfortunately, the first one is QPR at home. How do you see that one going?
I still think they'll lose that. QPR, well, as we've seen, they're nothing special in the way that they play as an aesthetic entity, but they're winning games and they bullied us. So I fancy them to do that against Stoke.
Preston away?
Preston keep popping up, don't they? I'm just not sure about them, because the received wisdom on a cup run is that you take your eye off the ball in the league, don't you, and put all your eggs in the basket of the cup. And why wouldn't you? I don't think they've got that far in the cup for a very, very long time.
That quarterfinal would have happened by the time that Stoke go to Preston, and obviously they're at home to Aston Villa in the quarterfinal, so you would imagine their cup run-ins there.
You would imagine. Although, Villa have got Champions League to keep an eye on, so if that could take their eye off the ball, you never know. Yeah, I think that once they get knocked out of the cup, then that's the end of their season, isn't it?
We saw it with Coventry last season, didn't we?
Yeah, I think. What home and away is it?
That's at Preston.
I reckon they could win that.
One thing we should reference is we referenced the late goal that Millwall scored against Stoke. The Saturday before, they came from 2-0 down at Coventry, didn't they? And then conceded the winner in the 97th minute. They've got an issue late on, Stoke, and we really hope they have an issue late on in their next game, because it's us at the Bet365 Stadium.
Absolutely, yeah. Am I being too generous with that? No, I'll give them some generosity to start with.
That's fair enough. How do you see our game there going?
We've got to win it. We have to. So nothing for them.
Cardiff away, another huge game of football down the bottom of the table. Oh, but you've already done this one with Cardiff, haven't you? 1 point for that one.
Well, yeah, I mean that's a strategic draw for me. I think the winner, the loser, sorry, is in right bother if somebody does lose.
Yeah, schedule's gone against Stoke there, haven't it? Tuesday night against us, and then away to Cardiff on the Saturday. Sheffield Wednesday at home.
They'll win that. Sheffield Wednesday win that. So 0 for them.
And then these monster 3. Leeds away.
0.
Yeah, that's Easter Monday as well. That could be the day Leeds secure something. That's already been moved for TV. Presumably they TV think that that's the day as well. If it isn't, it could be the following week when Stoke host Sheffield United in their last home game of the season.
0.
And then finally, that massive game, you just can't get away from it. Derby against Stoke on the last day of the season. I didn't actually write down what you went for in that one. I think you gave them both a point, didn't you? An unhelpful point?
Yeah, potentially. I can't remember. Let's say I did.
5 points for Stoke. That will get them to 44. All of a sudden, if your predictions are anywhere near true, high 40s, you're flying out of this.
Well, yeah, by the way, don't put any money on these predictions that I've given you.
But it does kind of show that if we're in the right ballpark, everyone's fear that we need 5 wins isn't gonna come.
No, like I say, I mean, without having done any of these numbers and looked at them and gone through them in the detail we're going to do now, just the general narrative of the season for me felt like this was going to be a low total for survival. I think previous seasons there's only been one under 50 in the previous 10. I think I'd looked at, and that was maybe 2 seasons ago. But everything else is 50 and above.
We've said all season long how poor a championship this is, and it is a poor championship. Let's go on to Hull City, our first opponents after the international break. They're on 41. They're now 6 points ahead of us. They're 7 points ahead of us in reality. Their goal difference is -8. That's 18 better than ours. Yes, I know we've got to play them. Unlikely we're going to beat them 9-0 though to cancel that out. Hey, I hope we do. We've got a good record at Hull though, haven't we? Many good things have happened at Hull in recent times for Luton. Their last 8 games, 3 wins, 3 draws, 2 defeats. Their home record, terrible. Only one of those 3 wins was at home. That was against Plymouth. I don't even know if you count that. So bad is Plymouth's away record. But they're on 41 now. If they replicate 3 wins, 3 draws, 2 defeats, then that's going to get them another 12 points. That gets them to 53, and you don't even need to worry about them. But do they replicate that? Let's find out. Their fixtures, Luton at home on the Saturday after the international break, then a local derby localish derby away at Sheffield Wednesday. Then they go to Watford. Then it's Coventry at home, their Easter period away to Swansea, then home to Preston, and then they finish with 2 games that are going to be massive down at the bottom. Derby at home and Portsmouth away. Hull have got the kindest fixture list in that they don't play anyone in the top bunch that are going for that are going for automatic promotion. And to be honest, it's only really Coventry that are genuinely going for the playoffs. I thought when I saw Hull against Sheffield United a few weeks back, I mentioned on this podcast that I expected them to pull away. Haven't pulled away anywhere near as quickly as I thought they would do, but I do still expect them to pull away. But let's just see to the extent that they're going to pull away. I should just say bookmakers have them 16-1 to go down, which basically they're giving them no chance of going down, even though they're only currently 3 points above Derby. That's how sure that bookmakers are that they're just going to pull away, and I kind of would agree with that.
Well, that would be my instinct anyway. I mean, we've not gone through it and seen what we think might happen with those fixtures, but just on the vital moments when they have got the points and pulled away and seem to be secure would be my guess as well.
Much better away from home than at home though this season, Hull. So let's see if that impacts us. So their first game, us at home.
Well, we have to win that, so 0 for that.
Sheffield Wednesday away.
0.
Watford away.
They win that.
Coventry at home.
Point.
Swansea away.
Win.
That's already them out of trouble.
Yeah.
Preston at home.
Win.
Derby at home.
Draw.
And Portsmouth away.
I think they'll win that as well, yeah. Away, did you say?
Yeah.
Oh, so no, change it to point.
So that would give Portsmouth 3. Well, that would replicate the form of the last 8 games: 3 wins, 3 draws, and 2 defeats. That would give them 12 more points. That would put them on 53. If you're a Hull fan watching this,
Clear.
pop yourself off on holidays. You've got absolutely nothing to worry about. And I would agree with that. Do you know what? One of the things that I always think, and this is my big fear for Luton at the minute, one of the things that I think is a giveaway in any relegation battle, whatever your division you're in, is goal difference. Very, very rarely do the teams at the top not have the best goal difference and the teams at the bottom not have the worst goal difference. Hull's goal difference -8. The next worst is Derby's -11, and then you're getting -15 and above for the rest of them. They are comfortably better than everyone else goal difference wise. That says to me that in these 8 teams that we're talking about, they're comfortably the best. They'll pull away from trouble, and that's basically what we've just alluded to.
I think so. They look like they've got goals in them. They've got confidence in the sense that every couple of games they're getting at least a result somewhere they've kept their head above the water quite. I guess they wouldn't think it's comfortably. For where we're sitting, that seems comfortable, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. The caveat to all of this is we're looking at it from a Luton point of view, whereas really all of these teams are looking at Derby rather than Luton, aren't they? Because Derby are the third from bottom team at the minute and the kind of form team, if you like. If Derby are the form team, it has to be said Oxford United you're stumbling big time, aren't you? You know, you had that bounce under Gary Rowett. You're kind of fortunate to beat us. Not gone too well since then. Just 1 win, 2 draws and 5 defeats in their last 8 games. Now, they're on 42 points courtesy of that bounce. So they're 7 points ahead of Luton. Maybe 8 if you include the goal difference. Ours is minus 26, theirs is minus 16. But if Luton are to catch them, then 3 results have got to go either way. That 10-goal swing can soon be evaporated. And wait till you hear these fixtures that are coming up for Oxford, Jimbo, because, yeah, you'll know full well, Oxford fans, there's nothing easy coming up here. Middlesbrough away after the international break. Sheffield United at home. QPR at home. Sheffield Wednesday away. Leeds at home. Cardiff away. Sunderland at home. And they finish the season at Swansea.
Wow.
Of these teams that are in and around us, Oxford have got comfortably the hardest run in. They've still got to play the top 2. Sunderland are 4th, so they've got to play 3 of the top 4. And they've also got to play potential playoff chasers in Middlesbrough and Sheffield Wednesday as well. It's a tough run in that.
Yeah, really tough. And I thought that before we even started to analyse it, it seemed like if anybody was going to be catchable or anybody might drop from where they are, I think that there's a high possibility that might be Oxford.
Yeah, just 1 win in 8 games. Of course, that was in their last game, wasn't it, when they beat Watford? Annoying buggers, aren't they, that lot down the road? Really, really are.
Well, they are, and they aren't really. They beat us, you have to say that, but they are coughing up chances to get into the playoffs, which is what they want, and I don't think they're going to get there. And I didn't think that even when we saw them, when we went down there and saw that horrible derby day, I didn't think that they were capable of it then. They're very inconsistent. That's the problem.
Indeed.
Still, I'd love to be that inconsistent.
That's it, yeah. So Oxford starting on 42 points. Let's go through their fixture list then. Middlesbrough away, sorry.
That's straight after the international break, isn't it?
Michael Carrick thinks he's got defenders back for...
Oh, does he?
He does, yeah.
All right, well, give Borough that then. So 0 for them.
Sheffield United at home.
0.
QPR at home.
1 point.
It's like Eurovision, this, isn't it?
Yeah.
1 point. Sheffield Wednesday away.
0 point.
And what does the verdict for Leeds at home?
0.
Definitely 0 there, that is for sure. Cardiff away on Easter Monday. Easter is going to be massive. If you're a neutral looking at this relegation battle, Easter is massive.
Right,
Oh, you already did this, didn't you? You gave them a point. Sorry, I didn't write that down.
That's a strategic one as well. I think that probably Cardiff could win that one, but I don't want them to. So
yeah, no, well, to be fair, given that you only got them to 42 points, it probably wouldn't make much difference if they did win. Sunderland at home.
Nothing.
Sunderland won't be playing for anything there, though. That's the only thing. Other than they're in that situation, if you go back to when we got promoted, we kept on going to the finish line, didn't we? Whereas Middlesbrough didn't.
Yep.
And they coughed up the semi-final of the playoffs. You kind of think Sunderland won't be stupid enough to just reel it in. They'll rest players on the last day of the season, Sunderland, because the playoff semi-final is 5 days later. But you would imagine that then they'll still want to continue their momentum. And who knows, if Leeds have collapsed, Sunderland have finished the season well, there might still be an outside hope that they can get promoted.
Yeah, I think as well with Sunderland that it looks like it's amazing to me because when I've seen them play, they've been fantastic. Not really just against Luton, but they will feel that they are good enough to go up and will want to go up. I think they got over their playoff hoodoo the last time when they came up a couple of seasons ago from League One, didn't they? Before that, it was quite terrible. So they won't want to go through that again. And if you drop off your intensity levels in those final games, even though you know you're safe in the playoffs, we've seen, as you referenced, Middlesbrough, that it can go awry. And I think that they're good enough to win that playoff battle with whoever's in that mix. They've got the players, the attacking players, to do it. So I think that they might have learnt their lessons from the previous failures and we'll go for it a bit.
Yep, I agree. So Oxford v Sunderland, you've got as
Sunderland win.
Yep, and then Swansea away.
Point.
Yeah, it does have to be said. These fixtures for Oxford are not nice. Just 3 points from their last 8 games. That gets them to 45, which Good news, Oxford fans. If Jimbo's right, you're staying up, but you are staying up by the skin of your teeth, it has to be said. Last team that are in the mix, Portsmouth. I wasn't going to include Portsmouth, but their manager was really, really scathing of their display at Preston prior to the international break, and so I wonder if they can still yet be reeled in. Obviously, they looked bang ordinary here, didn't they, at the start of the month? But they are on 42 points, so they are 7 points ahead of Luton. So it's going to be a stretch to catch them anyway. That's 8 points if you include goal difference, minus 15 for Portsmouth, 11 better than Luton. Their last 8 games, they're not very consistent, Jimbo. 4 wins, no draws, 4 defeats. If they replicate that, they'll get to 54. Absolutely no problem with being safe with 54. But will they get there? Their fixture list isn't too unkind, it has to be said. They don't play anyone that's pushing for automatic promotion. But they do have a few teams that are sort of battling it out for the playoffs. Blackburn at home, straight after the international break. Hopefully Blackburn have collected their thoughts and stuff for that one. Millwall away, Coventry away, Derby at home, Norwich away, Watford at home, Sheffield Wednesday away, and then last day of the season, Hull at home, which you've already alluded to will be a point. It's not a run of fixtures that will concern them. What probably would concern them is if they start this sort of patch after the international break with 2 straight defeats and the teams below them start picking up points, then they could get a bit scary. Of course, this is their first season in the championship, sorry. Their overall aim would be purely to stay in the division and build from there, and they look like they're going to do it. How do you assess Portsmouth? If you're assessing them on what we saw, you're worried. But their last 8 games, they've still won 4 of them. That would be more than enough if they win 4 more.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised how poor and ineffective they were when they came to Kenilworth Road, but they still should have got a point. I'm glad they didn't. But I think Portsmouth hit enough of a relative purple patch after Christmas. They sort of figured it out. They got Striker Bishop come back, didn't they? And they figured it out enough there to have done enough to stay in the division. It would have to be a pretty big collapse from here, I think, to find themselves in League One next season. I mean, it's not beyond the realms of possibility, but I kind of felt like that victory over Leeds was almost a psychological barrier of we can stay in this division now. I mean, they dropped off straight away afterwards and they coughed up to Plymouth, didn't they? But that to me, and they were better than Leeds in that performance for larger. I watched that game, so that felt like the turning point for them. So, I mean, it'd be great if they do slip up a bit and there's a wobble. Then there's more teams that can possibly try and catch, and you never know. But I think they've probably done enough.
7th or 8th best home record in the championship this season, Portsmouth. So you would think they've got enough at home to get out of this, particularly with Blackburn being the first visitors to Fratton Park.
Yeah, so that's a point for them. 3.
Millwall away.
That's a one each.
Coventry away.
0.
I can't remember what you said for Derby at home.
You got it on your paper there, haven't you?
No, I forgot to write the Derby ones down.
God's sake, I can't remember this either. So, yeah.
Well, I didn't think Derby were going to be in the mix. That's because they're in the relegation zone.
A point.
If that's different to what you said earlier, that's on me. Norwich away. Funny
See,
team.
Norwich, yeah, they are. They
team.
can batter you, or they can absolutely ship them. It depends where they are at that stage of the season.
I think they'll be done and dusted by that stage.
Yeah,
myself.
I mean, I don't. Their proclivity for conceding goals would suggest to me that they haven't got enough to get in the playoffs, even though they've got bags of goals in like 2 or 3 of the players that they've got. I mean, the fact that Borja Sainz is one of the top scorers in the league and he's coughed up 18 big missed chances, second below Adebayo, tells you everything, really, doesn't it? That where they are and where they could be. I think at that stage, maybe they're not bothered. So I think I'll give Portsmouth 3 for that.
There'll be goals in that game, I think it's fair to say. Watford at home on Easter Monday.
3.
Sheffield Wednesday away, second to last game of the season.
0.
And you've already said that they're going to draw at home to Hull, which again was a wishful thinking exercise, although Hull are well out of the trouble by then. So Portsmouth pick up, according to Jimbo, 12 points. They get to 54. You've absolutely nothing to worry about as far as Jimbo's concerned, Portsmouth fans. So how does the table look? So we've got going upwards. We'll keep Luton out of this. We'll keep Luton in second from bottom at the minute. So you've got Plymouth on 38. Then Jimbo's got Cardiff on 42. So they'll be third from bottom as it stands. Stoke on 44. Oxford on 45. Derby on 46. Hull on 53. And Portsmouth on 54. So if Jimbo is right, then Luton need to get to 45 points to stay up this season. So they need to find 10 points from their last 8 games. Last time we were in this situation, I mentioned it in the last podcast, we're going to reference the Great Escape so many times because there was 8 games left when that really, really kicked into life. Obviously, the first game after COVID was basically just getting everyone back feet under the water and everything else. 4 wins, 3 draws, 1 defeat then. So we picked up 15 points from our last 8 games. Everyone knows the defeat was a 5-0 Tonkin. Anything like the form that we showed then is going to keep Luton in the division based on these things. I mean, even if you were to say Derby, who you've got currently third from bottom on 44, even if they were to pick, sorry, I've got that wrong. It's Stoke on 44, not Derby. Even if they were to pick up 3 more points somewhere along the line and got to 47, Luton would need 12 points to stay up from these last 8 games. So all of a sudden, we're getting into the realms of Luton only need 4 wins to stay up. Those of you that are worried that we need 5 wins, 5 wins could be plenty.
5 wins
based
would be
on
lovely,
this fixture list.
Yeah, 5 wins would be amazing. But it kind of feels on paper achievable now, doesn't it? Obviously, we've all been at the game. We've all seen the games and seen the narrative of what's happened, and it's not gone to plan in any way, shape or form. So it could all go very, very awry. But on paper, when you look at it like that, it's very achievable, particularly when I think we're all of the opinion, aren't we, that we have to beat Hull, we have to beat Derby, we have to beat Stoke at the very, very least. And so that gets you near to that total, doesn't it?
Do we need to beat Hull, though? Because we've got them out of trouble. We need to beat Stoke and we need to beat Derby. They're an absolute must win because they're the ones that we've got them in. Of course, if we beat Hull, it keeps them in and around the mix for a little bit longer. But we've looked at their fixtures. We think it gets very, very easy, very, very quickly after they play us. Looking at this, the ones we've got most focus on, Cardiff, you've got finishing with 42 points, Stoke 44. And I just can't get away from Oxford, you know. I mean, as you know, I'm not a gambling man. But if I was a gambling man, if I could get a decent price on Oxford being relegated with this fixture list, you haven't got them winning any of their last 8 games. To be honest, I've got them winning 1. I've only got them beating QPR at home. So I've only got them getting 2 more points that gets them to 47. I still think you're vulnerable on 47. If you're looking at the relegation battle and looking for results to watch out for, of course we're going to be watching out for everyone who's around us. But I would say the 3 to really watch out for, Cardiff, Stoke and Oxford. We kind of think Eustace will get Derby out of this mess.
I do think that they will get. They're showing enough signs at the moment that they're certainly in the bottom 3 at the moment. They're the team that look like they can get out. But yeah, no, you mentioned do we need to worry about Hull? I think the reason I put Hull in there is not because I think that they're going to come out. Obviously, I've given enough points to be quite comfortable there. But I think it's because they're in and around it enough. It's obviously a far more winnable game than us trying to beat Leeds. As wobbly as they currently are, they're wobbly for Leeds. They're not relegation wobbly, are they? They could comfortably pass rings around Luton and be in third gear and unfortunately, I don't like to admit it, but win. So Hull to me seems like a more winnable game to go up there. And we like going up there, don't we?
It is mad how many games we've got in this last 8 that we had last time around. We played Leeds in that last 8. We played Hull in that last 8. I think there's one other that we played in and amongst that. And also the league positions of the teams that we played as well. I mean, Reading were down the bottom when they absolutely popped us down here. But then, we go to, we play Blackburn. They're the other ones, of course, Blackburn. They're the ones for the Great Escape. It's weird how 5 years on, the same teams are getting involved in Luton's relegation or hopefully survival claims.
Yeah, well, if it goes like that, I'll be absolutely made up. it would be even nicer if it doesn't go down to the last day. But I think we're all of the opinion that it probably will, judging by what we've seen. But yeah, it is mad. But these are teams that are perennially in the Championship. We just met them at the same time. The fact that Blackburn are going to be a factor is only because they dropped like a stone and they've coughed up wins to every single one of our rivals so far. They're not actually helping us out one bit, Blackburn. So if they turn it on when we play them, that would be bloody annoying, isn't it?
It would, yeah. Yeah, I see this going down to the last day. I mean, even allowing for the fact that we think that you can stay up this season with 45, 46 points, that is still 10 or 11 points for Luton. You know, we're unlikely to get that many straight off the bat, particularly with Leeds as that second game. I don't necessarily think we can't get something from the Leeds game. They've got a serious mental block.
We didn't have a hope when we went up to Ellen Road in the Great Escape, did we? And then suddenly out of nowhere, Harry Cornick, who can't hit cow's ass with a banjo, pops one in the top corner. I was there for that game. It was COVID, wasn't it? I went up for that one. It was like it was a weird atmosphere. It was quiet anyway in Ellen Road. It somehow got quieter when he did that. So it does just show you what could happen. You never know. And obviously Leeds are coming here this time. I think the Luton fans will fancy that because the Leeds supporters are proper. They'll be up for it, and yeah, you never know. Their wobble could turn into something more substantial. The fans will certainly think that, don't they? They've seen this time and time again where they've clearly been the best team in the division by an absolute country mile, and somehow they don't look like they're currently going to win the title, and they may not get automatic. So
I referenced it in the last podcast, Steve, who we had on to talk Norwegian players to us, supports Leeds. We follow him on Twitter now, don't we, as a result of that. They are panicking, the Leeds fans. They are they saw this last season. They were right there at this international break. They were right there, and they allowed Leicester and Ipswich to whiz straight past them. And they know full well. I mean, you said earlier about Sunderland and their playoff hoodoo. You think we had bad problems with the playoffs? This lot,
yeah,
they don't want anything to do with the playoffs.
And they're also panicking, by the way, a ray of hope for Luton fans. They're actually panicking about playing Luton because the fixture got changed, the time of it, to 12:30, and apparently they're absolutely garbage at 12:30. If you're looking for omens, and some of it is that, and it's looking up to the heavens and hoping, you never know.
Yeah, I've not done my homework on that. I'm relying on secondary sources, but apparently 2 wins in 11 at 12:30 this season. That'll do well for me. I mean, even Luton have won at Millwall on a 12:30 kickoff this season, haven't we? So, yeah, you just don't know. There's going to be lots of twists. There's going to be lots of turns, and if Jimbo's right, the only things that we can say for absolute certain, Plymouth, unfortunately, you're going down, and Hull and Portsmouth, you're going to be absolutely fine. For the other 5. Well, we've got a right old ding-dong going on, and can't get away from that last day of the season where Stoke are at Derby. That just feels like one of them is going to lose points that's going to cost them badly in that game. And we're going to be at West Brom, who hopefully have got their playoffs secured by that time. I maintain the semi-finals, they're 5 days after the last day of the season. You are not seeing any first-teamers other than the ones that are coming back from injury and need a run-out then. If you think back 2 years, whilst we went right through the tape, we still rested everyone for that Hull home game. That was the game that Joe Taylor started, that Joe Johnson started, and a few others started, because the first leg of the playoff semi-final then, that game was on the Monday, wasn't it? Because of something to do with the royal family, wasn't it?
I don't know. Probably.
Prince Charles' coronation, I think it was. And then the playoff semi-finals on the Saturday. So it's exactly the same this time around. Last day of the season on the Thursday, playoff semi-final last day of the season on the Saturday, playoff semi-final on the Thursday. It's just a little bit of fun, anyway, to sort of tide us over during this extended and annoying international break. We probably didn't want that break, did we?
Well, this is the thing. And when I was thinking about these results that we've just gone through, immediately, and obviously when we did the reaction podcast, the immediate thought is we could have got 3 points. We could have got 3 points against Middlesbrough, created enough chances. And in the immediate reaction, you're like, that could really cost. But if they can play like that and they won't create that many chances all the time, but if they create, half of the amount of chances they did, and obviously stick them away, that's the key thing. that gives you more hope. So now we've had a bit of like distance, a week's distance since that game, and you sort of look at it in those terms, there is cause for optimism. I think it's cautious optimism, but it's optimism nonetheless.
Well, that's it. As fans, we want to see a way out. A month ago, we couldn't. When we come back from Sunderland, we just couldn't see the way out. That was just wretched. After Plymouth, you can't beat Plymouth. Is there a way out?
Well, it's gone like this, isn't it? Hope, despair, and the Middlesbrough one was a little bit in the middle. Whereas I said to you after straight away, my initial reaction was one of frustration, and I think that might show you that Luton are going down. Give it a bit of time, like we have. Maybe if they can replicate that performance, it's a big maybe. And Middlesbrough had a threadbare side, so. But they are that squad of players is good enough to be challenging for the playoffs, and they are. So sometimes we take away the credit from what Luton did. They were phenomenal for the first half and definitely for the first 25 minutes. And if they can blitz teams like that and bloody take their chances this time, you never know.
No, you really don't. Let us know how you've got this all going. So just to remind everyone, Jimbo's final league table, taking Luton out of the equation, has Plymouth on 38, has Cardiff on 42, Stoke on 44, Oxford on 45, Derby on 46, and then let's not worry about Hull and Portsmouth any further. They're in the 50s and away and gone. We're definitely not going to need 50 points to stay up.
I have to admit, I'm quite surprised by doing that. And obviously, there's lots of moving parts, but 45 to stay up, I would have thought nearer 48, 49. If, just on the, taking a guesstimate of it. But when you look at it like that, then...
Well, I think when you look at it, you kind of look at it and you probably think, well, even Hull are away and gone at the minute. And that would include Oxford. But then you look at Oxford's fixtures in particular, and you really do see that they're not getting many more points unless some major turnaround happens. All of a sudden, it's actually the ones slightly above where we're immediately looking that are the ones most likely to be reeled in. And that's what's going to tighten this right up.
Well, it needs to be, doesn't it? Because if it's just one team, then the chances of it are slim. So the more teams that can fall off the pace and come back into the race is going to be a benefit. We've been in the bloody bottom three for how long? And missed 2 chances to come out of it recently. So that's, it's not... It is going to be still very, very hard. And I maintain you've got to beat those 3 sides that we play. And that would, with the 2 victories we've recently got, plus those 3, we were looking at 5 or 6 back then, and that would get us to 5. And then you've got 5 other games to try and pick up some points. I think a crucial, hard-fought draw somewhere might come in handy. But, we can't capitulate like has happened, but not for a while because defence has tightened up. Christ. So that side of the pitch seems to be going okay, doesn't it? The defensive side. And obviously, if you can leave Cal Naismith out and still keep a team to 0 shots on target, you're doing something right. Obviously, we know where the issue is at the moment. Bloody got to stick it in the onion bag at the other end.
Yep. Let's hope that gets sorted. Yeah. So just to summarise, we're kind of looking. Let's elevate it a little bit, just for inflation of these points. Kind of looking at 47, 48 for a real shot at being safe. You might be lucky with 45, 46, and in terms of the teams that we really need to hit a purple patch from here onwards, or Sheffield Wednesday and Preston, 5 of the 7 teams around us they play. If those 2 can finish the season well, we have got every chance of getting out of this. Swansea and Sheffield United, Sheffield United are going to finish the season well. They're one of the best 3 teams in the league. That helps that they've got to play 4 of these teams. Swansea also have to play 4. Alan Sheehan, come on, mate, keep doing your good work. Leeds have got to play 3. That's 4 if you include us. And let's hope that lot down the road, who still have to play 3 of these 7 as well, can chip in and help us out a little bit as well. let us know how you see it all happening. Are we on the short side of things? Do you think we need more points? Do you think we need less points? How do you see it all going? We've laid out the fixtures there. What do you get everyone getting to? Who do you think are the dangers? Who do you think are the ones that we could really reel in? We kind of think Oxford and Stoke are the ones that are of a distance above us that can be reeled in. Do you see that happening? And just let us know. But all in all, just a little bit of fun to break up what is always a really, really long international break as we wait for the final few games of the season to come along.
Yeah, definitely. But one, hopefully we can get the last remaining players that were possible to come back. I mean, obviously I don't think we're seeing Marvin Shandon again this season, but a little bit of extra time for Burke to get fitter and maybe even someone else with wonderful hair.
Indeed so, yeah, we'll look ahead to that when we do the whole preview, which will be out at the normal time later this week. But until then, thanks very much for watching or listening, however it is that you consume this podcast. I did hint that we would get the Trust chairman, Paul Stevens, on this podcast. It completely slipped my mind that the Trust are putting up a strategy meeting for members on Thursday. So that's taking up his priority at the moment. We'll get Paul on and maybe even another special guest as we move into April. We'll do our best for that. So do subscribe wherever you get our podcasts from, and you'll find out exactly when special podcasts like that hit, as you'll find out exactly when the Hull preview drops. They're going to be coming thick and fast between now and the end of the season, because 8 games in a short space of time, and we'll do something. We'll work out between now and Easter how we're going to work that. It's probably going to be one preview for the 2 games, isn't it, and one review, because Friday to Monday just offers no turnaround time whatsoever. But we'll let you know anyway. But if you do subscribe, you'll know exactly when all of our podcasts hit. And we would love to get up to 2,500 subscribers by the end of the season. And we're well on our way.
Subscribe, come on. There's a lot of you still commenting. You're not subscribed. Join the club. That's where all the cool kids are.
Just hit that button and hey presto, job's a good 'un. Thanks very much to the Barber Club and the Lower Level in Luton for hosting our studio, to Sean Grant and the Wolfgang for our intro music, and to Ed Smith Creative for the designs that you see on set. Until next time, which is a preview of what we've already got down as a huge game of football up at the MKM Stadium. From Jimbo and myself, it's still possible, Town. It's still possible.
I believe our supporters are the best supporters in the country.
I love this town. I love this town. I love this town. You know what I love about this town is actually you. Everyone in it has got this massive soul.
We're Luton people.